Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Mark Sergetic, and I am the Vice Chair of the Frankfort Township Democrats. I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Sheriff's Forum. We're really looking forward to tonight. I'm going to introduce a couple of people that have worked with us in organizing tonight's event. And first of all, we have Mark McCurdy, who is Chair of Frankfort Township Democrats. And Mark Schlegel is right up front here. Mark, going to stand up and let everybody see who He's our secretary, and he's our timekeeper tonight. And then Kim Shehorn is at the back there. She's our new communications director. And you're going to be hearing from Annette Vogt in a minute because she's going to be moderating the questions. And she will explain the format, timing, and all that kind of good stuff today. So just a few housekeeping things again. We really, again, want to welcome everyone. This event tonight is in partnership with several Democratic organizations here in the eastern Will County. And our gracious church host, St. John's, this is where we have our monthly meetings every second Wednesday of every month. And we are proud to offer this space for honest and open civic dialogue. I also want to let you know that we are an all-volunteer organization and we rely on donations. And there are two donations boxes at the back as well as a QR code. So we do have to pay for the space here, so we would welcome whatever donations you feel comfortable giving us. So just want to let you know that our mission is to provide voters with a clear, uninterrupted look at our candidates. To help us cover as much ground as possible, please follow these steps for the Q&A sessions. So you should have been handed some postcards as you came in. If you have additional questions you'd like to submit, please go ahead and raise your hand, and then Mark has some cards here, or other folks can hand you a card. We will combine those questions with ones that have been submitted online. So we've gotten about 20 questions from people in the room here. Some overlap, and I suspect there'll be some overlap. So we'll try to get to many questions as we can. We do need to end at 8:30 sharp, and understand that people want to network and shake hands and all that kind of good stuff at the end as well. We are committed to transparency. We'll do our very best, again, to answer all those questions. So I'd like to talk a little bit about what our expectations for us, the candidates, and everyone in attendance here today. We do strive for a higher standard of decorum than what we often see on the national stage. To protect the integrity of this dialogue and show respect for our candidates, our fellow neighbors, we kindly ask for your cooperation in keeping the event free from disruption. To ensure a productive environment for everyone, we reserve the right to ask individuals to leave if they repeatedly interfere with the candidate's ability to speak or the audience's ability to hear. Thank you for joining us in the spirit of peaceful and productive discourse. And with that, I'd like to introduce Annette Vogt, who is the chair of the New Lenox Democrats and also a New Lenox Township trustee.
First here is we're going to flip a coin to see who gets the first question. And what we'll do is the candidate that gets the first question answers, and then the second candidate will answer the same question. And at that point, the second candidate gets the next question. So you answer questions first, alternative too. So let's see. Patrick, you want to call it? What did you say? Heads. Heads it is. Steve, would you like to go first?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the first question. Yes. I'm sorry?
3-minute opening.
Oh, I'm sorry. The 3-minute opening. So we'll start with the 3-minute opening. I apologize.
No problem. All right, real quick. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, real quick. My name is Patrick Jones. I've been with the sheriff office for a little over 24 years. During my tenure with the office, I worked corrections, patrol division. I was a crime scene investigator. I was a SWAT operator, SWAT sniper. I'm currently assistant team leader of our crisis negotiation team. I currently hold the rank of sergeant on the east side of patrol. East side of patrol, yeah. I believe in truth and transparency. If we start releasing videos or don't release videos in an appropriate amount of time or statements or use of force that deputies has used against citizens in our community, I think we'll lose that faith that the community has in us. I also believe that the sheriff should be out in the community more, coming to events such as these, talking to people, getting to know what the problems are, and together we can work on them. I believe that there should be mental services for our deputies. We have had 3 suicides in our office. One of them, I had to go identify the body of. I also was on the YD homicide where the landlord had stabbed a 6-year-old child, and I later ended up giving testimony to help convict them. We see the horrors of our communities. I do not want a deputy in the community policing them with some type of mental disturbance. And I am the only candidate saying this. I believe that there should be programs down in the jail to reduce recidivism. My mother used to always tell me who's sitting in the front row now. I'm blessed to have her here. Idle Hands is a hell of a workshop. I think these programs will help us, and I think it'll better our communities. I thank you for your time.
Hello everyone, I am Dan Juggles. I too am running for Will County Sheriff, and I want to thank you guys for being here today. This is a very important election, as everyone can tell, because all the rhetoric and all the things that are happening throughout this state and throughout others, right? The sheriff needs to be, the sheriff's job is to uphold the Constitution, and the sheriff's job is to protect the people. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's I am a proven leader at that. I also too believe in a lot of the same things that Patrick believes in, and I've been saying this now for a lot of months. I announced my candidacy probably 2.5 years ago when I stepped down from the Major Crimes Task Force. But the reality of these things are, that we do need services for our deputies, because if you look at the statistics, all of our deputies see 200 times more critical incidents than anyone else here in this room. Normal citizens see 2 to 3 critical incidents throughout their entire lifetime. We see it on a regular basis, and there's no time to decompress because we have to go back to work. That's why we need to have some of these programs in place. We need to have mental health counseling, and we need to have programs within our facility. I've already started the process of obtaining grants in order to help pay for that for our department. Something about me that a lot of people don't know about, because I'm a lifetime Will County resident. I can trace my family's roots back to this county since 1836 when this county was first founded. So I have no intentions of leaving this county. My family's been here since then, and I continue to want to take charge of the Will County Sheriff's Office because this is the only home I've ever known. I've started in the jail just like Patrick did as a police officer. I was a road deputy, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, deputy chief, and now I'm the undersheriff. So every step along my career path has helped me prepare for this office of sheriff. Thank you.
The first question is going to go to Patrick, as you want the toss-up, and it is about leadership. You both get a chance to answer, but Patrick, you go first. What makes you the right and just leader for this time and for our community?
That's a good question. Thank you for that question. I mentioned during my career, I was a SWAT operator. Also, I'm currently a assistant team leader of the crisis negotiation team. I have been on, several critical incidents, ranging from a child going missing to barricaded subjects to being ambushed by gunfire. Through all those situations, I performed flawlessly. I also know how it feels to be in what believed to be an incorrect manner. I grew up on the south side of Chicago by the Rapid Projects. I remember my brother and I walking home from church and the police stopped us, telling us to pull our pants open, search us for narcotics. When my brother asked them why, they struck him. That won't happen under my leadership.
Thank you. Yeah. Dan, John, those 2 minutes, guys, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. So, like I said earlier, we are kind of at a crossroads at a lot of the local politics and a lot of the country politics. There is a lot of issues within the communities that we need to address. With all of the different programs, with all of the different community involvements that we have done throughout the years in the outreach, as a leader, you have to adapt. You need to get the community involved. You need to be out within the community, and you need to lead the department in that direction. For a long time, we have not done that, and that's the one thing I want to look to change, because there are so many programs and so many things that we could be doing as an organization that we just have not been doing. So in order to lead our department that way, we need to be involved, and that's one thing that we have not seen, is being involved in. And we've had a lot of different conversations. We've talked about we touched on officer-involved shootings. I've been in the rooms when attorneys make decisions that we don't necessarily agree with. And the sad part is that when we're working to solve a case, or we're working to better an investigation, we work for the people. They don't always get a voice, and that's our job, is to be that voice. And when other attorneys and other people get involved in those sorts of decisions, we need to put a stop to that, and we need to make policies in order to curb that, because one of the first things I would do as sheriff is make it a policy to release those videos, instead of having an attorney telling me I can or can't do that, because that ruins the reputation of the department, and it ruins the effect within the public.
That's 2 minutes.
Thank you. This next question will go to Dan first this time. And this one is relates to community vision. What is your vision for the future on how to improve the sheriff's relationship with the community they serve?
Sure. So there are a lot of barriers when it comes to police work, whether that be us not, or whether we're attending community meetings, whether we're attending schools. We need to start young. We've got a few programs within the Will County Sheriff's Office where we're in the schools day in, day out. We're teaching kids the dangers of drugs. We're teaching the kids how to be leaders. We're teaching the kids how to interact with law enforcement. These are important programs to start at a young age, so we can get that trust within the community. Other things we can do, we can attend community events. Since I've been Deputy Chief of Special Operations, I've attended countless community events within HOAs throughout the county. Those are important aspects of things that we do, because the reality of the Will County Sheriff's Office is we have areas in the county that the other jurisdictions don't want. Frankfort doesn't want. Moquita doesn't want. New Lenox doesn't want. They're all the unincorporated areas. So they are pockets of neighborhoods that have these HOAs. We don't have a village hall. We have county board members, but they represent all these different districts within these different villages and whatnot. So we need to be more involved in all aspects of community involvement and put ourselves firmly in place with these HOAs that the sheriff's office is involved in. Thank you.
Patrick, 2 minutes.
So right now, I'm currently doing that right now. I go off into communities and I tell them how to interact with the police if they encounter them. We're doing it right now with my organization. We also hand out book bags And we talk to them, try to find out what are the problems. This is the biggest time. One of my pillars is being an authentic community. We just don't do that right now. So I'm doing that currently right now. We serve food, we go out, we talk to people in adverse communities, people who are scared of police, and we try to tell them how to interact with the police. I tell them how to file a proper complaint if need be, and also let them know that we are the good guys. We are here to help.
Thank you, Patrick. You're up next. So this next question is about strategic planning. This is a long one, so stick with me. What programs or policies would you add to the department to make Will County Sheriffs more responsive and effective to better serve our communities as well as the officers? Specify and explain the top priority for improvement for employee wellness and retention, and one for community relations.
So one of them was that I mentioned were mental health. If you're not right mentally, how could we properly serve the people? So I would definitely put that in. That should have been put in place in 2021 with the Safety Act. And the second one was the repeated. Yes, please. Yeah. What was this?
Effective to better serve our communities as well as our officers. Your top priority for improving employee wellness and retention.
Okay, so retention right now is a problem. We're fighting over who can present the better package or the benefit package to maintain people, to retain people. So that would be one. To better serve the community, just like I said, coming out to these events like this, explaining what the sheriff does, explaining the rights of the people, and just building a better relationship, interacting with the community. That's so important right now. We don't have that.
Thank you. All right, this next one is about federal policy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
No worries, no
I'm
worries.
so sorry.
Like I said earlier, as far as the officer wellness goes, those are programs that the Will County Sheriff's Office has already started. I've already applied for a grant to pay for officer wellness program, peer support program within the Will County Sheriff's Office, and to do our yearly wellness checks that we're going to do. That's about a $200,000 grant that I applied for, which I should be hearing probably within the next month. As far as that goes. And if we're unsuccessful in getting the grant, there are other avenues that we can do to get that taken care of. So as far as retention goes, retention everywhere is awful. It's awful in law enforcement. It's even awful in the fire service right now. Because the reality is a lot of things changed since COVID, and people don't want to come to work. That's the unfortunate aspect. They don't want to do public service jobs anymore. So we have to be a little bit more, we have to market ourselves a little bit better. Whether that be reaching out to through other avenues for recruitment, but we also need to build better packages for our officers for retention. Because we are, the funny thing is we're robbing individuals from other departments to come work for ours right now. We just had 8 laterals come over from other departments from all over the state. So as far as the recruitment and retention though, it's much worse than jail, right? We're 30 individuals short at the jail right now, and that number has not changed in years. They have increased the salaries there. They've increased the benefit packages to try to entice more people, and we're going to try to move that way. But I think one of the things we need to do is we need to change the way we are marketing ourselves, because we only use the same thing over and over again.
Okay, thank you. And now, hang on to that microphone.
Okay. Yep.
This next question is about federal policy. What is your position or policy regarding ICE? Specifically, how would you balance and respond to law enforcement with protection of the citizens? Please refer to the cases in Minneapolis, George Floyd, and the recent ICE killing of Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good. How would you expect or train your officers to respond in situations such as these?
Sure. Well, I'm sure most people here know that the Trust Act prohibits law enforcement from assisting in immigration enforcement. And if you don't, that is state law. We cannot assist ICE with any kind of immigration enforcement at all. You know, the things that are happening in Minneapolis that you've seen, you know, I can at least I have a good grasp of the really good shooting, right? Because I've been that officer on the side of the car where a car takes off and you know, drags somebody or whatever. I've been that person. That did not happen in this case, right? I did not see anything from watching that video that would lead me to believe that officer was in danger. That's my opinion, right? Someone may have a totally different opinion. Like I said, I've been drugged down the street by a car. And if I could have, I would have shot the person that was driving, okay? But I didn't. It was the scariest few seconds of my life. But, you know, these officers are making split second decisions. And we may not have all the facts because, you know, is what we see is maybe not all the facts. So that's what these investigations are for. So before I make any judgment, I want to wait to see all the facts. However, everything I've seen thus far in the videos that I've seen, they don't look good. We need to train our officers to interact appropriately with ICE and with the public. Because I tell everyone, take videos. If you think something's going on that shouldn't, take videos, document it. Because the things that happen and the things that people see could be totally different than what's reported later. So that's why we need to document those things. You know, my belief in the fact is that, you know, I don't have much faith in the government right now in affecting a non-biased investigation. When you have officer-involved shootings in the state level, an outside agency will investigate it, and that's not happening right now.
It needs to happen. Yeah, thank you. Want to repeat that question? It's not a long one. What is your position or policy regarding ICE? Specifically, how would you balance and respond to law enforcement with protection of the citizens? Please refer to the cases in Minneapolis, George Floyd, and the recent ICE killing of Alex Preddy and Renee Cole-Good. How would you expect or train your officers to respond in situations such as these?
All right. So first of all, like Dan said, we do have mandates in place, so we won't be assisting ICE. Those videos are very concerning at best. Okay. What I would like to do is probably bring ICE in and teach them some de-escalation techniques. How about that? You know, we got one situation when an individual was praying and he's getting pepper bombed, shot in the head. So you tell me how that use of force justifiable. I think if we can sit down and teach them some de-escalation techniques, which it seems like they do not have any, I think their job will go a lot easier, and that would protect our citizens in the home.
Thank you. Might as well hold on to that. There you go. Okay. Also, how will the Will County Sheriff's Department handle ICE's unlawful immigration raids and detainment?
So, going back to we got mandates in place. I will try to videotape as much as we can, try to meet with their supervisors, and try to get better service to the people. To me, that is the best way. We have no authority over them, but that would be my best way. Try to meet with their supervisors, videotape their actions, and then the people will decide at the end of the day.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, like Patrick just said, we don't deal with ICE at all. You know, I was alerted to an incident that happened in Bolingbrook yesterday where someone who had some immigration issues had run into the police station there. They did what they could to not have him get taken into custody, but at the end of the day, they don't have any jurisdiction, okay? The one thing that upsets me the most about ICE right now, you know, they've been around for a long time. They've been doing the job for a long time. They've been doing the same job. The only thing that's changed is their tactics, right? They're wearing masks, which is BS in my mind. The only person that should ever wear a mask is an undercover officer, period. You know, they talk about doxing, they don't want people to know who they are. They're public servants. You serve the public. You're paid by the public. So take that mask off. That's one thing I would not stand for as sheriff. If you're wearing a mask, take it off. And if you don't, get out of the county. End of story.
Thank you. You're going to start this one, though, Dan. Yeah, straight. Okay, this one's on equity and governance. Address why, if you think DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is important in our community, especially for those that lead and govern.
Sure, absolutely. You know, in order to have a working government that works for the people, by the people, you need to include all the people, whether it's race, whether it's sexual orientation, whether it's
Age.
Age, yeah. Because everyone has a voice, right? I'm 50 years old. I'm no longer a teenager. My son and daughter know more than I do about the internet and about technology these days. So I need to go to them every once in a while. Hey, how do I do this? How do I edit this video? How do I do this? How do I do that? People from different backgrounds bring different things to the table, and that's a necessity for us to function as a government.
Thank you. Let me repeat it.
Yeah, you can. I think I got the gist of it.
Okay. Address why, if you think DEI is important in our community, especially for those that lead and govern.
Okay, so this is a very good question for this office. I am the only supervisor that is of color that's black with our office. That has been on since I've been here over my 24 years. We've never had an undersheriff, chief of police, or the patrol division, or specialized units that was of color. It's very important to include other races because it's a de-escalation technique. We use it on our crisis negotiation team. If we have somebody that's African American, they put me up against them sometimes. If we have a female, we'll put Hillary, who sits in the crowd, up against them. She understands what that is. I understand what it means to be African American. So it's very important that we include these races in our different journals. Thank you.
Stay put. There you go. This one's sure.
Okay, just want to let folks know we're about halfway through the questions. If you have additional questions that are not being asked, so again, these were submitted online by people that are in this room. If you have additional questions, raise your hand and we'll give you an index card, but we're about halfway through at this point.
Okay, Patrick. Can you explain the legal guardrails for ethics, complaints, and violations that officers are held to, and how they can be improved upon, i.e. discrimination, use of county accounts for non-work related business, or solicitation?
Well, those can be improved upon FOIA. If we get any of our emails and stuff FOIA, they should be released at an appropriate amount of time. And then we should hire people with good ethics. What was the second one?
Can you explain the legal guardrails for ethics, complaints, and violations that officers are held to, and how they can be improved?
So complaints, meaning complaints against police officers, or complaints against? Complaints against police officers?
Yes.
So what I do like about the Safety Act, one of the things is that we all have body cameras. I've written 2 deputies up throughout my career of being a supervisor. So I just reviewed body cameras. So that gives us, transparency. That gives me the direction whether I should write this person up or not. And yeah, that's about it.
Great, Dan. Can you explain the legal guardrails for ethics complaints and violations that officers are held to, and how they can be improved upon, i.e. discrimination, use of county accounts for non-work related business or solicitation?
Sure. So we have a pretty good system in place as far as complaints come in, or as far as complaints go. Is that there used to be barriers when someone wanted to make a complaint, where you had to get a notarized complaint form, fill it out, and submit it to a supervisor. You don't have to do that anymore. You can do it online. You can do it through the portal. You can show up at our office and make a complaint. There are many ways to do that, and it moves through the process. So once the complaint comes in, it gets forwarded to Internal Affairs. They issue a case number for it, and then it goes to that supervisor to look into the complaint. As far as what was the other stuff with?
Complaints, violations that officers are held to, how they can be improved upon, and then i.e. discrimination, use of county accounts for non-work related business or solicitation.
Okay, so as far as emails or whatever that's referring to, I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, being a police officer, you're held to the most highest ethics that you can be. And if there's an officer that doesn't think they should be held to a higher standard, then they shouldn't be a police officer, period. That's my belief. So as far as ethics and integrity, if you don't have that, then you shouldn't be a police officer.
All right, hang on to that microphone. We've got this one's very similar. It's kind of associated with that. Public FOIA documents suggest a candidate utilized the Will County email server for campaign donations.
Oh,
please explain why this was done and what measures will be taken to ensure this never happens again.
Well, that is referring to me. I know that because we did get a FOIA on that, and someone had reached out to me from Flock and asked if they could sponsor my golf outing, and I did not respond to them via work email, and it ended at that.
Okay. So.
You can't really answer that.
Right, because you know it's specific to you. Yeah.
I would say check my D2s. I would say check my D2s. I don't, if we want to get a good laugh, we'll look at my D2s and then look at Dan's. Because he's out funding me. But,
well, let's just get on to question number 9 then. This is about vendor donations. Please explain why a candidate has received donations from a company contracted by the Sheriff's Department. How will you move forward from expecting donations from contractors?
I didn't receive any money from any contractors. And I think it's better that we just do not, it's a conflict of interest at best. Just do not take money from contractors. So.
Okay, Dan?
You want me to?
No. Yeah.
Again, that's the same Flock question. And if that donation was neither expected nor asked for, so that's my answer.
All right, hang on to that, Dan. Communication integrity. In light of reports regarding incorrect information in press releases for police-involved shootings, how will you ensure these mistakes do not happen in the future?
Well, the unfortunate thing is when we put out press releases, we don't have all the facts sometimes. Sometimes we're giving misinformation. Sometimes we receive information from officers who were not on scene. Sometimes we have to base information off of CAD data, because when there is a critical incident, when there is an officer-involved shooting, we have to get information out there quickly. There have been cases in the past where information that came out for incidents like that were wrong and inaccurate originally. But the unfortunate thing is when incidents like that do occur, there's not a whole lot we can do to correct it until we get medical records, until we get statements from officers. In the particular case that I'm aware of, we weren't able to get any of that. The unions would not allow us to talk to the officers involved in the shooting, and they would not. We couldn't get anyone at the hospital to provide us any medical documents, until we used a subpoena and or a search warrant. So we had to wait 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it was, to get the subpoenaed information, and once that was obtained, that news story was directed.
Can you repeat that?
I think I got the gist of it. What I would do is release a general statement and let the people in the communities know that this is subject to change as we get further information. That's just a brief, and then try to release any videos as soon as possible. Like I say, it's very important that we have the trust in the community.
Okay. Pending civil lawsuits for discrimination. Please explain the situation and your stance on it. Are there pending civil lawsuits for discrimination?
I don't know if I'm too familiar with that, but I wouldn't tolerate it if they're worth. Because you.
Please explain your
Okay.
situation, your stance on it. You gave us your stance.
Well,
Don't tolerate it.
I wouldn't tolerate that. I believe everyone should be treated equal, and it would be a thorough investigation, including internal affairs, if we did have one of those.
Dan?
Could you repeat the question?
Pending civil lawsuits for discrimination. Please explain this situation and your stance on it.
There is one pending discrimination lawsuit, and Patrick is aware of it because he was deposed on it. But that particular case, I can't really discuss a whole lot of it because it is still ongoing. However, through the course of an internal affairs investigation, the allegation that was made turned out to be made in, I don't want to say false, but the individual who made the claim that there was discrimination basically said his supervisor did something illegal and had done something, had made some racial statements during an arrest. When in fact it wasn't the supervisor that did it, it was the guy that was making the complaint. So those statements ended up getting that employee fired. So that's my stance on it because I'm not going to put up with racial discrimination.
I got to answer that. He said I was deposed on something. I was not deposed on that. I was deposed on whether I was called the N-word or not. That's what I was deposed on.
That's the same case.
No, well, I didn't know that.
Okay. Well, this one's for Dan. How do you think the Sheriff's Department should serve and protect citizens who are protesting ICE or the government?
We have to protect everybody. Our job is to protect all the citizens of this county. It doesn't matter if you're a protester, if you're a passerby, if you're a police officer, it doesn't matter. People have a right to protest, and we will stand for those individuals to protest as long as it's done peacefully. The minute you start throwing frozen water bottles, you start, lighting off firecrackers, throwing things at the police, we are going to have to get involved. That's the reality of things. We have to calm the crowds. Realistically though, in the Will County Sheriff's Office, you won't see too much of that happen because we don't really have areas where people are going to be protesting. There's not a whole lot of infrastructure because that's what people will want to do. They're going to be attracted to those types of areas. We will assist all different agencies. There are other organizations that are called. There's an organization called ILEAS. They would come out, and those are the agencies that would normally respond to stuff like that. But everyone, as long as everyone's peacefully protesting, I encourage it.
You repeat the question, please.
How do you think the Sheriff's Department should serve and protect citizens who are protesting ICE or the government?
Well, as Dan said, peaceful protest is always welcome. I believe that's how our democracy has arrived. If we don't like something, we protest peacefully. We shouldn't be tolerating any violence. And as long as it's a peaceful protest, I agree with it, and they can do it.
Thank you. You might as well hang on to that mic. This next one's for you, Patrick. What can the sheriff's office do to fight against the increase of white supremacy and neo-Nazis in our area?
Well, what I think we can do is identify those organizations. And everyone has a right under our Constitution to believe in what they believe in, right? As long as it's done peacefully. You know, I've been in houses where I've taken reports where I've seen neo-Nazis, and it's been totally peaceful. And I did my duty, took a report, it was criminal damage to property, and sent it up to investigation and had it investigated properly. So, as long as it's done peacefully, if that's your belief, it is what it is.
Dan?
Honestly, we don't really see a whole lot of that sort of activity here in Will County. Not to say that it doesn't happen. We have had a couple incidents within the last few years where individuals are hanging flags up or whatever. Or we have had incidents where people are what they'll do is they'll take a bag and throw their Nazi literature in it with a rock and throw it in people's yards. That did happen in the New Lenox area a couple of years ago. And those people are identified. It is within their right to say those things, and as long as there's not violence involved, there's not a whole lot we can do except identify these individuals and watch them. If they get out of line, then we will enforce the laws. It's that plain and simple.
Okay, hold on there. How would you manage the WCSO?
Will County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, budget. To avoid increasing the tax burden on Will County residents, especially in advocating for expanded programs?
One of the things that one of my pillars is reaching out for grants, right? I've obtained a lot of grants throughout the years. I've written a lot of grants. I have, we've obtained lots of different equipment within the last few years, over $1 million in equipment to the Will County Sheriff's Office. None of that was a taxpayer expense. We just got an $800,000 rescue vehicle for our SWAT team. That was 100% free. The only thing we had to do with that is we had to pay a little bit of money for a paint job. So there are programs out there where we can get free equipment. There are grants out there where we can fund. We've got grants that have purchased equipment that have paid for salaries for employees. There are a lot of different options out there. Like I said, right now I have just written $2.2 million in grants. One to cover body cameras and to cover all of the squad car cameras. Over $2 million for that. I'm hoping to find out more about that by March. We're hoping to get the mental health program started through grant funding. So a lot of grant funding that we've done throughout the years. We've got a deflection grant that goes out into the community, gets jobs, job interviews for individuals. We'll provide them with clothing. We'll provide them with toiletries. We'll provide them a way to better themselves once they get out of jail. Those are things that we're doing right now, and that's all been accomplished under my leadership. And I will continue to do that.
Thank you. Cancer? How would you manage the Will County Sheriff's Office budget to avoid increasing the tax burden on Will County residents, especially in advocating for expanded programs?
First of all, I appropriately staff it. Try to get appropriately staffed them down in the jail and in the patrol division. Also deal with grant writing. And one of the programs that I'm talking about putting in the jail, it comes directly out of the inmates welfare program. So the commissary that we sell and to them, and we get a profit, by law, we have to put that back in the jail programs for them. So that would reduce the budget.
All right. Deputies often act as de facto social workers. How will you implement co-responder models to divert offenders into treatment rather than jail? Is that something?
Yeah, I wouldn't dare have a deputy. So what we do have, like you have tasks and stuff, you could recommend that, but we don't really know about these, and what would be the price? It's almost like you're trying to make a deputy a psychologist and diagnose them with something. I wouldn't want that. Is that what I'm getting at?
Yeah,
I don't want to diagnose them before I tell them what their problem is.
Yeah, social worker.
Okay.
How we implement co-responder models to divert offenders into treatment other than jail.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Dan, you want to speak to that one?
Yeah, I know what they're talking about there. There are some police agencies like the Naperville Police Department that have their social workers go out and respond with deputies to try to talk individuals through a crisis. That's not really something I personally believe in. I don't like the idea of taking a social worker to a domestic call. Because that can be very dangerous for someone that's not trained to fight, to respond to uses of force. It's not a very safe situation. There have been several incidents throughout the country where social workers have been killed on calls, and that's not something I would want to do. I wouldn't be opposed to having if it's a nonviolent offender or a nonviolent offense, if someone's just going through something. There are other departments, they'll hand an iPad to the person. Hey, talk to an online social worker. You can do that. We have a good benefit here at the Will County Sheriff's Office. We've had social workers now for almost 25 years in our department. As a matter of fact, for probably 20 of those years, we had one. I got us the second one, okay? Because we need that within our community. We need to give these resources to residents in our county, whether that be because they need counseling, whether they need alcohol treatment, whether they're going through a bad day. That's their job, is to direct them to get those services.
Okay, do we have anything to add to this? No? So I'll pass through the last one. Okay, so we'll just wind this up with the final statements. Each will get 3 minutes and since Patrick took the lead the last time, so for the end, Dan, you can go ahead and start with your closing statement.
Sure. So, and I don't think I touched on this earlier, but I've been with the Will County Sheriff's Office going on 27 years. And every step along this way has made me ready to take this position. I'm a graduate of the FBI National Academy, which less than 1% of all law enforcement officers have in this profession. I was a former director of the Will County Major Crimes Task Force. I've led investigations for the last 8 years. The one thing about an outgoing sheriff or any outgoing politician is when new people come in, you usually can't base on what they've done because they're brand new to the job. But for the last 8 years, I've been running a division at the Will County Sheriff's Office, and some of the things that I've done, the first thing I did when I took over as deputy chief, I made our warrants division part of the U.S. Marshals Task Force. Okay, these guys go and pick up the worst of the worst criminals. That was step number one. I revamped the SRO program. We put them all under investigations instead of in patrol. We trained them better. They are now SWAT trained. They do control the bleeding. They do so much in our schools, and they are now detectives instead of out of the patrol division. Not only did we, when I started, we had 3 SROs. Now we have 5. So those programs have been increasing. We partnered up with the DEA to be the fiduciary. What that means, 3% of all cash seizures now are coming to the Will County Sheriff's Office out of the Chicago office. They seize an average of $50 million a year. We get 3% of that now because we are the fiduciary. That is money that we can use to buy equipment, to put funding into programs, and that was something that I did. We outfitted all unincorporated Will County with flock cameras, which is the most, in my opinion, the most important tool that we can have in law enforcement right now. We have solved dozens of murders. We have solved dozens of crimes. Just from license plate readers, we can get this information to our deputies in a very timely fashion. The things I want to do though, and I talked about it earlier, I want to release body camera footage within 7 days of all critical incidents. I want to prioritize mental health for law enforcement, and I want to strengthen partnerships with our law enforcement profession, or our federal partners and state partners.
That's 3 minutes if you want to finish your part.
And much more?
And
much more?
And much more.
I may not understand, but what's a flock camera?
License plate reader camera.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. Mantra? 3 minutes?
All right, I just want you to listen to my platform. Truth and transparency, releasing body cam footage at appropriate time and statements, being off in the community more, such as coming to events such as this, talking to people, working together on the problems, mental health of police officers, and teaching them how to deal with people with mental health. Putting programs in the jail to reduce recidivism. I think my vision is the best vision for our community.
Thank you. I would like to thank both candidates for your unvarnished opinions here. Quite frankly, I carry water for one of the candidates, but whichever one wins, I am all in on either one of the candidates. They're both very good people, and I just want you to know that you need to get out there and vote your heart in the primary, and then vote with your head in the fall. And with that, I will turn this back over to Mark to finish up with some announcements.
Great, thank you. Well, let's have a round of applause for it. This is a good problem to have two good candidates to think about and to talk about and to listen to. So a couple of things just to leave you with. Again, I want to thank everyone for your presence and your respect, and we really appreciate that as Democrats here in Frankfort Township. We want to encourage people to get involved. We used to have about 5 to 10 people in a meeting, and now we run about 60. So the silver lining in what's going on in our country is that people are getting more involved and more active. I think this room is a good example of that. I would have never dreamed that we'd have 80 people for a sheriff's contest to be sitting in a room like this. So that's the silver lining. A couple of last things: if you have not signed in, we would ask that you sign. We'd like to capture your name and your email address. We have videotaped today's event, and I just want to say that both of the candidates didn't miss a beat, didn't hesitate when we asked them, can we record? They both were very gracious and said, absolutely not a problem. So candidates knew none of the questions going into that. They knew the format and everything, but that was the extent of it. So again, just a great job, and appreciate your presence. And then one last thing, again, we do have donation boxes. We appreciate any support you can do to offset the cost of today's event. We have the room until 8:30. Candidates, you okay to stick around? Yes. Candidates, you okay to stick around? Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Candidates, you okay to stick around? And so we'll have the room until 8:30. One last thing. This is my closing pitch here, guys. Ladies, this is why I was saving this to the very end when I leave them the last thought. We have a judges forum. We have 2 Democrats running, Peggy O'Connell and John Pavich, for the 3rd Appellate Court. Next week, same time, same location. 1 week from today, 7 o'clock. QR code sign up is on the back table there. Welcome you to attend. We have a similar forum.